My name is Richard Miller. I am 75 years old now, and this year is 2026. For the first time in my life, I wake up in the morning without an alarm, without a to-do list, without guilt for not going anywhere. Ironically, this peace comes just when almost everything I ever pursued no longer needs me. Throughout my life, I was known as a busy man, a responsible man, a man who always said, "I'm doing this for my family." I truly believed that sentence. I repeated it for years until it turned into an excuse, not the truth. I was born in 1950 in Ohio, in a small house with a backyard that was always overgrown with weeds because my father was too tired to take care of it. My father rarely hugged me, rarely praised me, but he always worked, and that's where I learned. He once told me without looking me in the eye that a man is measured by how hard he works, not how often he comes home on time. I grew up believing that love is something that is understood, not shown. I got married in 1976 at the age of 26, and at that time, I vowed not to be a distant father like my father. Without realizing it, I simply replaced emotional distance with more modern excuses. When my children were born, I told myself that all these sacrifices were temporary. I would work hard now so that one day we could be at peace. The problem was, one day never had a date. My life became a series of meetings, targets, business trips, and long nights at my desk. I always came home physically exhausted and mentally overwhelmed with numbers, and I saw that exhaustion as proof that I loved my family. I never asked if they felt it too. I still remember very clearly one night in 1989 when I was 39 years old and my daughter Emily was 7. She stood at the door of my study, holding a picture she had drawn with crayons. There was a big sun, a small house, and a man in a suit with a briefcase. She said it was Daddy. I remember the clock on my wrist showed 9:47 p.m., and I remember saying that her drawing was beautiful while still staring at the screen. I told her to put the drawing on the desk because I just needed to finish one more thing. She smiled a little and left. I still remember the sound of her footsteps receding down the hallway, but I don't remember the last time I heard that sound with any real attention. Things like that seem small, almost insignificant, until you realize that life is actually made up of small moments that you don't consider important. I missed birthdays, school events, and family dinners not because I didn't care, but because I was sure there would be other opportunities. I told myself that my children would understand, that they knew I was working for them. And yes, they did understand. They understood that their father was always physically present at home, but rarely truly present. I remember one day arriving late to my son's soccer game. I walked onto the field in my work suit, panting, and saw all the other fathers cheering. My son turned to look at me. Our eyes met for a moment. Then he looked down and ran back onto the field. Not anger, not explosive disappointment, just a quick burst of shame. At the time, what was embarrassing was that I didn't feel devastated. I actually thought that at least I had come, even if I was late. It wasn't until years later that I realized that being late often feels the same as not coming at all. There are also small moments that used to be funny, but now feel painful. In 1998, when I was 48 years old, my wife asked me to change the light bulb in the kitchen. I said I would do it after dinner. We ate dinner late. I fell asleep on the sofa, still wearing my shoes, and woke up at 3 in the morning because the kitchen was brightly lit. My wife had replaced the bulb herself. I remember smiling and thinking how efficient she was. I didn't ask how it felt for her to always have to take care of the little things by herself, while I saved my energy for the things I considered important. My biggest regret is not about one big moment, but about the pattern of life that I unconsciously repeated. I put off important conversations because I was tired. I postponed apologies because I felt I was right. I postponed emotional presence because I thought I still had time. I only recently understood that postponing is the most subtle way to disappear from someone else's life. You don't leave, but you also don't truly stay. I also regret measuring my self-worth too often by productivity. Every time I wasn't busy, I felt useless. I brought my office mentality home, treating my family like a schedule to be adjusted, not a relationship to be nurtured. I forgot that children don't need the best professional version of me. They need the version of me who is willing to sit quietly and listen to unimportant stories. My greatest realization didn't come at retirement, nor when I received my last award, but at a funeral in 2018. I stood there, watching an old colleague being buried, seeing his children giggling as they remembered their father, and for the first time, I asked myself, who would truly miss me if I were gone? Not out of respect, not because of my position, but because they'd miss my presence. The question wasn't answered with tears, but with a long, uncomfortable silence. I learned that busyness is often just a cover for avoiding harder things, like being fully present or acknowledging that we're afraid we're not good enough as parents or partners. I learned that people don't leave us because of one big mistake, but because of the accumulation of small absences we take for granted. I learned that work will always find a replacement, but broken relationships rarely truly heal. Now, at 75 years old, I have a lot of time to reflect. I realize that time never gives warnings. There are no bells, no danger signs, no reminder emails that this might be your last chance to be present. Time just moves forward, and one day you wake up and realize that the people who used to wait for you have learned to live without you. If you're watching this and thinking that this story doesn't apply to you because you're still young or still in the building phase, I want you to know that I thought that too. I thought I was building a future, when in fact, I was neglecting the present. If you go home tonight and there is someone who wants to talk to you, don't say just a minute. Don't postpone it with promises that have no dates. Because one day, they will stop waiting and you will have all the time in the world, but no one left who truly wants to spend it with you.